Kösem Sultan was born Anastasia around 1589 on the small Greek island of Tinos. She lived a quiet childhood until her world changed dramatically as a teenager. Captured and sent to Istanbul, she entered the Imperial Harem, a world where beauty, intelligence, and strategy determined survival. Unlike many girls who vanished into obscurity, Anastasia's sharp mind and keen understanding of politics caught the attention of Sultan Ahmed I. She became his favored consort and with time would transform from a young captive into the most powerful woman in the Ottoman Empire. After Anastasia, later known as Kösem, became Sultan Ahmed I's favored consort around 1608, her life in the harem was anything but safe. She had to navigate a palace filled with jealous rivals, ambitious concubines, and influential eunuchs who controlled access to the Sultan and information. One of her main rivals was Handan Sultan, the mother of Sultan Osman II, who initially had significant influence in the harem. Kösem subtly outmaneuvered her by building alliances with key palace eunuchs and loyal advisors, ensuring that her son would have the best claim to succession. Another figure she outsmarted was Saliha, the Lhasab Sultan, the mother of Murad IV, half-brother Ibrahim I. Through careful politicking, Kösem isolated rivals, leveraged loyalty, and positioned her son Murad IV to ascend the throne at just 11 years old in 1623. She also handled the viziers and court officials who remarkably finesse figures like Kemalkis, Kara Mustaf Pasha, who wielded military and administrative power, were subtly guided by her influence without realizing how much control she had. By 1623, as Valide Sultan, Kösem Sultan was no longer just a mother or consort. She had become the empire's hidden ruler, deciding succession, influencing state politics, and commanding loyalty from powerful court factions. Her rise took over a decade of calculated patience, strategic alliances, and psychological mastery, proving that in a male-dominated world, a woman with intelligence and foresight could control an empire quietly. Once her son Murad IV ascended the throne in 1623, at just 11 years old, Kösem Sultan became the empire's regent, effectively ruling the Ottoman Empire from behind the scenes. She guided her son, managed the state treasury, and controlled appointments of top officials. Key figures in her court included Topal Recep Pasha, the Grand Vizier, who was responsible for administration and military campaigns. She influenced his decision to align with her goals. Later, Hafiz Ahmed Pasha, another Grand Vizier, also answered to her guidance, showing her enduring influence over successive governments. Kösem was a master strategist. When rival factions in the palace tried to challenge her, including ambitious concubines and eunuchs. She patiently built alliances, leveraged her son's authority, and quietly removed threats without open confrontation. Even foreign diplomats recognized her power. Ambassadors from Venice, Peirce, and Austria reported her instructions as if she were the Sultan herself, negotiating trade agreements and resolving disputes. By the late 1620s, Kösem had transformed the palace into a chessboard where every whisper, alliance, and subtle move reinforced her authority. Through patience, intelligence, and cunning, she became the unseen ruler of one of the largest empires in the world, proving that power does not always need to be visible to be absolute. Life in the Ottoman palace was treacherous, and Kösem Sultan faced rivals at every turn. One of her most persistent challenges came from Saliha Sultan, mother of Ibrahim I, who sought to protect her son's interests and court her own influence. Other adversaries include ambitious palace eunuchs and concubines, like the notorious Harem Sultan, who initially had swayed over Ahmed I's successors. Kösem countered them not with force, but with strategy, timing, and alliances. She formed loyal networks of eunuchs, advisors, and servants who ensured that messages, favors, and influence flowed in her direction. She subtly guided grand viziers like Topal Recep Pasha and Hafiz Ahmed Pasha, ensuring that her policies were enacted and rivals neutralized. Her most remarkable skill was patience. She waited for the perfect moment to act, whether to remove a court official, secure her son's position, or influence succession. In doing so, she returned the palace into a game of chess where every whisper and every maneuver strengthened her rule, all while remaining mostly unseen to the wider empire. Even the most cunning rulers faced threats, and Kösem Sultan was no exception. Her position as Valide Sultan and regent put her in the crosshairs of ambitious courtiers, palace eunuchs, and rival mothers like Saliha Sultan. During Murad IV's minority, factions attempted to undermine her authority, including secret alliances among palace officials who wanted to control the young sultan. Kösem centered each move with patience, intelligence, and decisive timing. One of her greatest tests came during Ibrahim I's reign. The new sultan's erratic behaviors and indulgences threatened palace stability, and plots emerged that could have cost Kösem her life. Yet, through careful manipulation, loyal alliances, and subtle guidance of key ministers, she maintained influence and ensured the survival of her family and her own power. Kösem's ability to survive decades of intrigue In a world designed to erase women from history, proved that strategy, patience, and foresight could outweigh brutal force, even in the most dangerous political environments. Kösem Sultan died in 1651, but her influence shaped the Ottoman Empire long after her passing. Through decades of cunning, patience, and strategic brilliance, she had guided the empire through the reign of Murad IV and Ibrahim I, securing the throne for her descendants and stabilizing an empire often threatened by internal chaos. She proved that power does not always need to be visible to be absolute. Courtiers, foreign diplomats, and even sultans themselves operated under her influence, often unaware of how much control she wielded. Her story challenges the traditional narratives of history, which celebrate men while overlooking the women who shaped empires. Kösem Sultan's life reminds us that true power can reside in subtlety, intelligence, and foresight, and that history only whispered about those it fails to fully recognize. If you want to go deeper into how women shaped the Ottoman world, from powerful queens to influential patrons and social forces, there are great history books on Amazon that explores this era in depth. I've linked recommended books in the description that helps expand everything we talked about today. Kösem Sultan's story reminds us that history isn't just written by the visible rulers, it's also shaped by those who walk in the shadows, guiding empires with intelligence and strategy. If you want to uncover more untold stories of powerful women who shaped the world, stay with me and explore the hidden histories waiting to be discovered. Don't forget to like, comment, and share because these stories deserve to be remembered.